Hello everyone, my name is Chandy
I am Martin.
and welcome to our YouTube channel. We are excited that you are here. Today we would like to talk about what do you do when people you love the most hurt you.
Awesome. So this is a very, very interesting topic to me, and it's very, very sensitive to some people. I know that so many of us may have been hurt in one way or the other. But the truth about it is this. Come to think about it, how many of us have ever hurt someone? Yes, we remember when people hurt us. We don't remember when we hurt people. So what that means is that as long as you live in the planet Earth, you in one way or the other will hurt somebody, and somebody in some way will hurt you. But the people we're going to be focusing today will be those people that will hurt you and don't care about your feelings. They don't really care that you are being hurt.
So we'd like to discuss the strategies that you can use to manage or avoid being hurt.
Right.
Number one, you need to validate your feelings. Sometimes we risk our emotions to people who we think are capable of handling it, but not knowing that these people may not be in a good position to reciprocate
Absolutely.
the love or the emotions that we are giving to them. So when they hurt us, we need to validate what you have risked, the investment that you have made. Is it worth it? Could I have done it, or could I have done better? So that is number one. Then number two,
When you say the people you love, one question we need to ask ourselves, do they love you as well? Because you can love somebody that doesn't love you, and it's very practical. And we've seen people who trust people and just believe they're going to get better and they're going to be better tomorrow. So, and that puts you in a place of risking so much in order to get what you hope to get tomorrow. So the next one we're going to talk about is taking responsibility. It's so easy to blame and point finger at people who may have hurt you. We don't take time to evaluate the situations. We may have in one way, just did something. Take for instance, your husband abused you, or you abused your husband using some vulgar words that are not good for husband and wife. In a situation like that, most times we don't remember what we said first before the person said the bigger word. I remember like when my kids, they're playing, and all of a sudden you see somebody come to me, Daddy, this person hit me. They will be very, very fast and smart to tell me who hit, maybe because they hit most or they hit last, but they will not tell me how the whole thing all started. So maybe that they have done something, or maybe that they have pushed somebody, or maybe they've taken the toy of the other person, which may have also, made that conflict to be possible. So what we're saying is this: take responsibility. When you are hurt in a situation, in a relationship, don't just be so quick to point accusing finger at the other people. Evaluate the situation and take responsibility. In some ways, you may have contributed towards that.
so number three, that leads us to number three. When you have taken responsibility of your actions, when you have taken responsibility of how you play the role in this situation, you need to move towards forgiveness. You need to be open to forgive. I know so many times people say forgiveness, oh, it's not that easy. But we always say to ourselves, forgiveness is not for them. It is for me.
Right.
Because when I let go, I actually get to a point of becoming at peace with myself. So I have to be able to learn to forgive myself first, so that I can have a privilege, an opportunity to forgive them. But the thing about forgiveness is that, do you have to wait for them to come apologize to you
Before you
forgive? You may not necessarily have to do that. You have to determine in your heart in order for you to say, I forgive you. I forgive myself for letting myself being hurt by you, and then you move towards that part of forgiveness.
This is the most hard part of life. Forgiving someone who has hurt you badly is very hard, and we are not here making light of any hurt. Just telling you, forgive.
Right.
Do it. Sometimes if you wait until you are comfortable, you're going to wait until life passed, and you will never have the opportunity to do that. And I've seen people who got, hurt somebody, And the people they hurt felt like, oh, I wish I had forgiven before they died or something like that. And we always believe in the Bible because there are so many principles in the scriptures that helps us navigate life. And one of those, if you read the book of Matthew chapter 18 from verse 19, 20, 21 to 35, Jesus was just telling his disciples story about how unity works. He says, if you agree in one thing, that it will be done. And Jesus went further to say, whatever you bind here on earth shall be bound in heaven. And Peter brought a very smart question by asking Jesus. He said, Lord, how many times will somebody offend me? Then I will not longer forgive. And Peter said, oh, by the law, at least 7 times. If somebody offends me 7 times, I don't have to. I mean, I am legally okay to go ahead and retaliate or just come back at the person. But Jesus said, listen, Peter, I'm not just going to give you 7 times. I'm going to give you 70 times, 7 times. Think about it. How much, I mean, for somebody to hurt you that much. But what Jesus was just trying to point out was a lesson about forgiveness, that forgiveness is the way to go. And Jesus went further to talk about a story of a man whose master took a stock of what is in the shop, and they found out that this guy was owing the master, or he may have misused the funds that was meant for the business. And they realized that he was owing about 10,000 talents. And the master said, you know what? I'm going to keep you bound. I'm going to keep you in the prison until you pay. In fact, your family, your wife, they will be in prison as well. And this man bent down and pleaded with the master and said, please forgive me. And guess what happened? The master forgave. He left the master's presence and saw somebody who was owing him. And he held the man and said, you have to pay me whatever you are owing me. And other servants saw what happened and went back to the to his master and said, this is what happened. And the master said, how wicked could this guy be? You know what? Bring him. I'm going to lock him up. And Jesus was just trying to teach us a lesson about forgiveness. He says the kingdom of God can be likened to this story. So many of us has been forgiven. God has forgiven us several times, and we don't really pay attention to how many times we've also, hurt somebody. So forgiveness is the way to go. And I'm not here just going to tell you it's easy. When you pretend about it, God will give you the grace to do it.
Yeah, I also wanted to add that forgiveness opens doors.
Right.
Because we have experienced it.
Right.
Because I remember when my husband had just moved to the States, we were trying to get around with, getting job and all that. But we got in a position where things were becoming hard.
Right.
It seemed like things were closing up on us.
Right.
We didn't know where to turn up to until we went to God in prayer, and God told him that he needed to forgive someone that had offended him while he was in Nigeria. And he didn't even think that he hadn't forgiven the person. He felt like, because he had let it go, he didn't forgotten about
to persecute
him. He had even forgotten about
the
what
money
had happened.
Or whatever that was involved.
But he didn't know that he was still holding grudges about against this person until he decided to pick up the phone. It was really hard. I remember when you were, you picked up the phone and you called him and told him that you want to forgive him, that you want to let go, that he shouldn't worry about the money or anything like that. And as soon as that
I didn't just stop there. I went further to even ask him, hey, if I have also said anything in the course of trying to recover my money, please forgive me. Because, go ahead, baby.
Yeah, so as soon as that call was done, I kid you not, 2 weeks later, the job that he had applied to called him to start work. And it seemed like things now started opening up to us. So forgiveness, you don't see just as a way for, to have the other person come over you and do whatever they want to do and keep hurting you. But you see it as a way of peace. You see it as a way of open doors. You see it as a way of you growing to become better in what God wants you to do. And this is you becoming better in yourself, because you need to be able to love yourself first for you to be able to love someone else, to forgive them.
So the last one, which will cover 2 segments of people, because we're talking about people in relationship, both husband and wife, and also for family and relationship like your friends at the job. So the last one and not the least is that we don't agree and we don't believe in the concept that if somebody keep hurting you, take for instance somebody call you names that you don't like, and you just keep allowing them and saying, because we talk about forgiveness, we need to set boundaries. Boundaries are very, very important. So what are the ways or the things you can do in order to set these boundaries?
You need to communicate your thoughts to the other person. You need to tell them what you do not like. You need to tell them what they have done to you, and then tell them how you would like to be treated.
Right.
So we need to demand that people treat us the way we want them to treat us.
And also in that setting boundaries, it's not just going to be automatic. Sometimes you being quiet does not make people to know exactly what is going on with you. So from what you're saying, we need to communicate to whoever that has offended us. If it also means you cutting off the person or blocking that person from the phone, it's important that you do it. I mean, you don't have to if a relationship is getting toxic, it's important that you realize that you need to leave first in order to have that person as a friend or as a in your relationship. So you need to learn to be able to call a spade a spade. If you've talked to them, if you've tried to just work with them and help them understand things that you don't like and you've told them over and over and they just keep doing it, set boundaries so that they know there's a limit. Setting boundaries does not mean you are being rude or being, just not being respectful, but it simply means you are putting a wall to protect yourself. And I remember what Jesus said in the scripture. Jesus said, if your eyes will cause you to sin, he said, plug it out. I'm not saying you should plug out your eyes, but what Jesus was just trying to tell us is that whatever that will be a problem that will hinder you, whether it's your hand, whether it's your family, you need to learn how to navigate that relationship so that you don't allow people to keep coming inside and just hurting you and just walking away, not knowing that they are leaving you battered. I've seen people just because of hurt have fell into depression, to the point of thinking about killing themselves, thinking suicidal. These things are real. So if you are dealing with things like this, if it means cutting off a relationship just for the moment until you get better to handle it and to find more matured way to handle it, do it. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and also follow through with what you say. Sometimes we tell people how to treat us, but then we allow them to continue to do what they have been doing. You need to always follow through. You tell them, I want you to do this. I want you to treat me this way. Make sure you continue to remind them, because sometimes they may not even remember.
Right.
So
yeah, I remember. Yeah. I also remember a friend who was dating somebody who was just abusing that person, verbally, using some words like, about the body and all of that. And if you're a guy, there are things you dare not say to your wife. I believe we can help each other to encourage each other live healthy and just be more healthier and make healthy choices in our body. Yes, but it's very, very sensitive as well. You want to say it in the right way that it will not hurt that person's feeling, so that you don't pull that person down trying to encourage them. So this person actually talked to me and said to me, hey, this is how this person talks to me and all of that. I said, what are you doing with this person? If this person doesn't know how to talk to you in a very respectful way, don't you ever call me to tell me about this. If you don't know how to block them, I will block you. If you don't know how to put boundaries. And the person was a little bit skeptical about it. She was afraid. What if this person walks away from me? First of all, if you want to date somebody and you don't know how to respect that person, you don't know how to talk to that person in a mannerful way, there's no point. You're just going to mess that and ruin that relationship. When you get married, you can say anything in front of your family or anybody. So I said, set boundaries and let this person know. And that relationship, finally, they broke up. But today, not up to 1 year, better person came up and God brought somebody who appreciate this person and just value her and accept her the way she is.
Yeah, that's it, guys. We need to be able to find out ways that we would be able to manage. Some of the time you cannot avoid it. And most times you can definitely avoid it if it's something that you could do. By setting boundaries, by communicating your thoughts, and also by just getting away from that situation, and also find out ways that you contribute to some of the things that happen to you. They say 10% is what happened to us and 90% is how we respond to it. So you need to be able to find out ways you can handle your emotions, and that will really help you
Yeah. So lastly, for spouse, when we talked about setting boundaries, so if it is your husband or your wife hurting you, I mean, it's kind of very, very difficult. Like, they just keep doing the same thing you've told them not to do. I will encourage you to continue to love them and pray for them. Keep praying. I'm not saying if there is a life-threatening issue, something just happening to the point that your life is at stake. No, I will tell you, escape. Just get away from that relationship, and things had to be spelled out. So you need to be alive to stay married. So we will encourage you to just continue to love that spouse and just continue to pray for them and see God do amazing things.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. We are so excited that you joined us. Let us know if this video was a blessing to you, and let us know your takeaway. We are so excited for it.
Awesome. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.